What is going on, everyone? We are actually a part. I got the wrong clicker on top. Oh my God, I screwed up. Let me see. Okay, well, we'll just have to live with it, guys. I'm trying to figure out this whole thing. I'm not the technical guy here. Coach Kurt is. We're going to try to figure it out. What's going on here? So, guys, welcome to the Fight House Talks podcast. And we are going to be talking to Mr. Nigel E. February, the founder of Piper, episode 23. So without further ado, it's late in South Africa. Let's get this started. We waited long enough. So let's get this started and bring the man on stage. How's it going? Good evening there, sir.
What is up, Brian, and the rest of your viewers and people on the internet?
How's it going? So we just wanted to tell everybody that this is you don't really do a whole lot of interviews. I know it's been quite a while since you did long, so we appreciate you coming on and giving us your time after you're doing your seminar today, which we hope was a great one for you. So we want to go ahead and there's been a lot of stuff going on with Piper, both in South Africa and the United States. So we just wanted to come and bring you on here. We're gonna let you talk and have the floor, and we have some questions towards the end we're going to ask, and we have some stuff in the beginning we're going to ask. So we just wanted to go ahead and clear up a lot of stuff. So we want to just go ahead and start with Piper itself. A lot of stuff out there been said about Piper. You know, there's been a lot of haters out there, a lot of people that praised it. A lot of people have come on and been part of the Piper system, me included. So we just want to go, where did Piper start at? Let's just get people are familiar or watching. How did Piper start? What is this affiliation with the Numbers Gang? And let's just go ahead and go from there.
Okay, so I think the first thing that we're gonna have to clear up is that Piper is my creation, meaning that it's the body of research that I developed in the early 90s over a 4-year period, and then I gave it a name, Piper. But on the Cape Flats and in South Africa, amongst the criminals, whether it's in the prisons or on the streets, they don't know that name, okay? That is the name that I chose because my research was meant for all martial artists and not the mainstream people in South Africa. Like, that's the last thing you want to do, okay? So if in Cape Town, especially in the early days of Piper, I'm known for capoeira. I'm a capoeira teacher, and I'm known for filat. So Piper is something that people don't really know of on the flats because that's essentially what you want. They're not interested in a system or systemizing gang culture, because you must understand gang culture in South Africa is an oppression. Okay, it's not a good thing. So if you look at when Lloyd joined me, I think this was 2 years after I created Piper, he can tell you that it was very difficult to have people from the flats inside a Piper class because these people they just didn't want to see this again, right? So for the martial artists, it's for the people who were separated from this phenomenon. You know, people from the former white areas, the privileged areas under apartheid. And that's the other thing. During apartheid, we had segregation where we had a land act. It was called the Group Areas Act, where you had white people in their own areas, and you had colored people, black and Indian, in what we call the ghettos or the Cape Flats, right? So we had the gangs in our areas. White people don't have gangs. Like, to this day, white people are not, never, ever in South Africa. This is the only place where white people has never been part of any gang. Like, I can tell you, if you want to ever not be attacked by white people, you should come live here, because the gangs and usage of the knife is for people that grew up on the flats because they grew up with gangs, you see. So once you have a gang living in your neighborhood, that's when you have crime. Okay, muggings and burglaries and all of those things, those are contact crimes. But you know what the problem with the gang is that they constantly will do it. Every day you will see it. They live in your neighborhood. The guy that mugged you yesterday, oh, you see him standing at the corner store the next day, you know, ignoring you. So that is why I created Piper, was because I needed to find a way to use the martial arts that I know to actually fight the way these guys move. I didn't develop this so that I can learn how to use the knife. I developed it so that we can find a way to just, not get mugged.
Yeah.
So that was from 1991 up until 1995, right? So those dates are important, because my late father, he was his father, like from my father's side, from my father, his brothers, his father and grandfather, they are Native American. Okay, they are Black Carib Indian. They are they are Black Carib Indian, and they are Comanche. That's what their bloodline is. Like they are that close. So my family's only been in South Africa, since the 1900s, like exactly on the dot 1900. Right. So I'm probably less African than you are. So
I don't know.
so yeah, I'm more of an American than you are. I'm just letting you know.
You probably are.
Okay.
Probably are. What you said, you have a Silat background, which is I kind of do as well. So, but basically, what Piper was is integrate, like you said, what you knew for your martial arts and then just taking some of the cultural parts and then kind of adding it together. So
okay, this is how it happened. When I was doing Silat, it was a hybrid version. Like what Danny Nasanto did to Mafalindo Silat, where he had Silat from like all the different masters that he had, right? So my version was called Ronin Silat because it never had one particular influence. It didn't have one strain. And my father brought a lot of, because he was a big guy. My Silat looked a lot more like the Polynesian arts, the Samoan arts, like Lua, because these were big guys, like him and his brothers were big guys, and I was a skinny guy. Okay, so I trained against big guys when I was doing Silat, a lot of boxing type things, limb distractions, what you would see gunting. That is what it looked like, and this is where. This is literally how it started. Is when I was doing some of the postures in Silat, I then realized that hang on, they were doing a lot of these types of things in Silat. Even when they were doing, when they were holding the knife, they were doing these types of things. And I'm like, but I saw that before. That's when I realized that the gangsters moved in exactly the same postures, and that's what started my research. It was because of these similar postures. When they fight, and I'm like, but you guys don't know Silat. But here's the thing, though. The Malaysians have settled in Cape Town from the 1500s already.
Wow.
So our Malay community has been here almost a lot. They've been here longer than the Dutch, longer than the English, longer than the Portuguese. They've been here the longest. So the even where the if you look at the language, the Malay Tagalog language, the term Silat was actually brought into Afrikaans because they created Afrikaans. The Malays that lived here in Cape Town. So the word Silat is actually what you call a colloquialism. It means to hit someone, right? So in Afrikaans, they use the word slaan. Slaan means to hit, but in the Afrikaans, that the original Afrikaans, it was called slat or silat. If you say silat too fast, it sounds like the word slat. In Afrikaans, that means to actually strike the person. So the word silap and kilap was actually part. It was woven into our culture, but it wasn't taught officially. Like they still have some silat rituals like rati. Where they go into a trance and they cut their bodies with blades. The Muslims still do it here in Cape Town from time to time. So that is how I got where it started. And then with the blending of the Xhosa and the Zulu stick fighting, that's the second part of that's the other parent. So Silat was the first one, and Nguni or black stick fighting was the second one. That's when you had the these types of movements, where you pretend that this is a gnarled stick, and that's obviously how they got to these types of silat. That is a cultural movement. When you do the piper that Lloyd does, Lloyd was doing the piper I taught him in the early 2000s, right? That piper was specifically for Africa. It was for our culture, because when Africans fight, they are very overt. When they fight, they want you to know it's going down right now. Okay, if you look at
like a discrimination kind of thing, like with the body movements, with the wide movements, like that.
Yes, it's done. It's done so that you can actually see. I'm peacocking at the moment. They want you to know that it's an ass whooping. Now, I know we're getting to Medusa, but I'm going to speak about it now, because now you'll see, because me and Mike Raymond spoke about this. It's like, if you look at Medusa, so simple, where they don't want you to know that you've got anything. So you just go in and, disrupt the guy's either his sight or his balance, and you start pumping him, right? That's the North American way of doing it. So they don't need all of this unnecessary flurries, because now I'm seeing that you've got a blade. The blades is held out here, and it's like I can see you with a knife. The idea is not to be seen. That makes your chances of survival greater, because self-defense is actually a surprising act. Like, he's surprised I even have something. He's surprised that I'm responding. An ambush is a surprise already. So that is why I'm saying why you guys are having problems is because when Lloyd came here, he didn't make any changes to the culture. Because if I do this, I'm going to show you something. If I do this movement, but I didn't stab you, the guy opposite, my opponent, automatically knows that just by that little shimmer and moving of the hands and little, when I'm holding my thumb out like this and the pinkies out like that, just that tells him that, oh, this guy knows how to stab. But if I do this to you and anyone else, they're going to be like, the fuck is this guy doing? Right? So
I get it.
This is the reason why, if you're going to learn a prison system from your culture, not from someone else's culture, because now you're sitting with misinformation and you are now having to do a funny dance prior to just punching the guy. Like, do you understand? Like, our culture is based on the nuances of our speech. Africans like to dance in everything that they do. So if you look at like when we dance to music and when we talk, we're very expressive. Guys are always out here. Hands is always, they're always the hands is always moving. So when you see them do this, the way that they fight is the same. It's because we speak with our bodies as well as with our mouths. So that sends a message. Now the problem is that if you plant that culture somewhere else, it is alien and it's very foreign.
Well, yeah, that's like trying to teach a guy, a Mexican guy, mariachi music, and then you give him electric guitars. Like, go ahead and start playing heavy metal here. The guys would be fucking lost. I do want to get into before we go into a little bit more about how Piper started, the Okapi knife. I have one here. This one is from South Africa. So was this the preferred blade that everybody used, or was just used like any blade they wanted to over there?
No, well, first of all, the Okapi was dead cheap. Okay, it was a poor blade.
Metal's real
utility knife. So the first thing, it's a very uncomfortable knife. I never used the Okapi when I grew up. I used the American buck knife. This is the only folder that I used, because it just looked elegant and it was a utility knife. The Okapi, you see, those are the new ones that you've got. Yeah, those are the new ones. They don't have an edge, right? And you'll see how simple the blade is. So if that thing breaks, you just toss it away and get a new one.
Well, it does have a slight edge, but it's not really sharp.
No, those are the new ones. Those are the new generation ones. The Chinese also have knockoffs, but the Okapi was it's a ratchet knife, right? But it's because it was cheap That's why it was used. It was cheap and disposable. Okay, so I know in the black townships they worship the knife. The black guys, they love the knife. Here on the Cape Flats, they will use anything. The word is anything that they get their hands on. And the problem is the Okapi, and this is why you have to be accurate when you stab. That's why our culture is one hit, one kill, because you cannot hit that thing against bone, or if a guy's got a muscular arm, or you hit him on the deltoid, and it's covered in material, and he's got a jacket on. If you twist your arm, a certain way, and the Okapi hits it, you actually snap the blade in two. So it's not designed for what it's used for. It's just a cheap knife, right? It's the most rudimentary design ever. It's a piece of shit knife, but it's killed more people than any other knife of the same brand. That is the thing, that people don't spend $1,000 on a knife to stab someone. So that's the the first thing. I'm not a fan of the Okapi. I just want you to know.
I guess was like I saw this on this Etsy. The lady's from South Africa, and she sells them. Her husband make them, I guess. So I went and bought it, but I'm never gonna use it. It just stays like for display thing. But I heard they used to like sharpen them on concrete or something to get them like all jagged or something.
Yeah, no, that's because it's a poor blade. They would sharpen it on the curb, on the sidewalk. They would sharpen it. And that's just to give it a little bit of an edge. But it's mostly the tip. They just want to get the tip in, because what they would do is they would only stab you about say 2 inches to actually hit the targets, because they know exactly where to hit, and because again you're dealing with a blade that is not high quality. It cannot handle muscle, bone, and tendon. Especially if you're busy moving around, just your body moving around, you could snap the blade. So what they would do is just sharpen it enough just to get the blade to break skin. And then what they do is, because it's such a poor knife, they would stab and then flick it. They'd flick the blade just to kind of create that triangular chunk of flesh.
Oh, that's where that comes from then. Now I get it. So like you said, a lot of the movements, I'm gonna go back to that we were talking about. A lot of the movements, like I said, like were taught to us, like by Lloyd and stuff like that, was more cultural, African based, rather than what your vision of it really was meant to be. Like, just simple, effective, get in there and cause damage and then get out.
Yeah, because see, here's the thing. Let's speak about the prison system, for instance. Now we say prison system, it's a kind of a misnomer, because how many of us have been to prison? Because again, being inside a prison is very different. I'm speaking about prisons all over the world. I'm not specifically pointing to the prisons here, because the culture is the same everywhere. Like, no matter who's running it, it's the same. Okay, it's equally as fucked up as there's some prisons as worse than others, but essentially it's bad. Now, when you see CCTV cameras of a prison stabbing, it's not just a random thing. There was a lot that went into that, because remember, you cannot just stab somebody and then you're still in the same 4 walls as the other guy, the other prisoners, the other inmates. So you just can't go start stabbing people left, right, and center. So everything, especially in our prisons, these guys sit down and figure out, like, listen, we're gonna have to take Brian out because he's a snitch. But it takes a while to plan that kind of thing out, right? And then by the time we see Brian getting his ass sewing machined, but they don't realize the amount of prep work. And remember, you have to maintain this balance inside the prisons. You cannot just start stabbing and having you have prison riots every day, right? So there must be an ecosystem that needs to be in balance at all times. But the funny thing to that is, while all of these things were like Mike Raymond studied American prisons, for something that happens in the streets. I studied South African prisons, and yet I'm in the streets. The amount of stabbings outside is way more than the ones inside. Right? It's a free for all outside. Like in every country, like there's more stabbings like every day than outside than it is inside the prison. Because there they have to be very careful how and when it happens, because there's hierarchies that you must maintain if you're inside prison. So that's very important as well. So like I said, it's the same everywhere. Because when I speak about the numbers gangs later, then you'll see why they have to maintain that order. It has to be disciplined. If you're looking at American prisons, you've got the Nation of Islam, you've got the Black Brotherhoods, you've got the Aryan, the Aryan Brothers, the Latinos, the essays. So there's a reason why they have to have some kind of a structure, to where they have to respect each other's territories and stuff like that. So I think from a mechanical perspective, we are learning from the inmates how to physically do it. But when you're outside, the nuances of actually pre-fight indicators, fight avoidance, those kind of things, it's different to the prison. So you cannot use the prison as a litmus test for everything, like in your life, because right now you're at home, I'm at home. Tomorrow, I'll go to church, and then after that, I want to go to the mall. These guys don't have that freedom. They cannot escape. They cannot run the way you and I can run. If I see there's trouble, I can go the opposite way and never see the trouble again. For them, it's very different. So again, we have to just be careful. Our research was essentially just the mechanical aspect of knifing. Yeah,
because in prison it's close quarters. I mean, obviously, like you said, when you're out in the mall, you're out in the street, you're wide open space, so the tactics and the movements are going to be different rather than than being, like you said, in the prison.
Yeah. So I think the I'll tell you exactly why Lloyd taught that style. He taught it specifically, and I don't know, and I know you guys don't know this, right? But Lloyd is an academic. He's he would be considered a pacifist. Okay, he loves reading. He loves. He's an IT, engineer. Like he's like a typical nerd. He's not an aggressive person. He's not he doesn't get in your face. He doesn't even like to swear. Doesn't like to in cuss words. He doesn't raise his voice. I'm the guy that's like, the loud bitch in the room. I'm the if somebody upsets him, I'm the one taking offense. Like he forgot the guy insulted him. I'm like we're not going to leave it there. We're going to throw down. So he just like keeps to himself. So that's why he comes across as very intense, because he's always just watching, and I'm the guy that's like, I'm trying to to start some shit, and then, but the funny thing is, and again, I might criticize, why he's teaching it that way, but you remember he was never a teacher. He doesn't have any students prior to arriving in the States. He's never had a black belt rating in any system. You understand? He's never run a school in his whole life. So whatever he knows about teaching, he had to learn that by reading books. He had to study, ways to teach. So he didn't have good interpersonal skills, like how to actually sell himself to a student. Yeah. And that's important, because as a teacher, I've had over 30 years of experience, and I'm just teaching, and there's it's like being a father to like 10 children, and they're all different, and you still have to love them the same, but some guys are slower than others. Others are just, more nervous, and some people are they're more raucous when they, and others are just energetic. Others are just, observing. So you have to balance all those energies and personalities as a teacher without being judgmental. So again, if you're a parent, it's down to the same thing. You have to learn a lot of patience, a lot of tolerance, that kind of thing. But one thing I can tell you is the reason why Lloyd will go out and teach a cultural thing like that, something I wouldn't do, is because back in the day, Lloyd used to challenge the martial artists that are like Wing Chun and full contact karate. We didn't have Filipino guys teaching in Cape Town at the time. We had like really top class martial artists, and Lloyd would do that same pipe against all of them, and he would just literally just destroy them. Funny thing is that he was not that guy. The minute you put the knife in his hand, he becomes that guy. Like, I've got actual footage that I'm going to be releasing in the next couple of weeks. This is 2005, 2005, where Lloyd sparred with a live Okapi. He sparred against 3 guys. Like he fights people with like, this is how we used to train. So all my students had to train with real Okapis, and that's not the ones you got now. These are the ones with the thicker blades, right? And you can see Lloyd actually having to fight people that just learned, and they are the most dangerous because they don't know how to pull back. If a guy new with the knife, he doesn't have control. So Lloyd had to put himself on the line every time he would go in, and I've got the footage to prove it. You'll actually hear me screaming at them while they are, sparring.
Yeah.
You see him dismantle these guys like as they fight, but he does it. He doesn't complain. He doesn't talk back. He, like, once you put a knife in his hand, you tell him you're fighting that guy. He just goes in. He does it. That's it. So you don't hear a lot of attitude from him. You don't hear him speak. Even in my Piper classes, they never spoke. Myself, him, and Shadley Kannemeyer. Shadley Kannemeyer was the first guy that was my student. He was there years before Piper started. Shadley was trained by my late father. So my father died 22nd of June, 1997. Piper got its name the 8th of September, 1997. Now, my father hated gangsters, anything to do with gangsters. So I couldn't tell him I was making gang material. So the Piper had a different name back then while he was alive. It was called Hidden Thorn. That is what it was called. That was what its original name, Hidden Thorn. Yeah, it was a Silat name, a part of a Silat technique. I couldn't tell him, oh, I'm studying gangsters and, this is my material. He would have just like 86'd it, from the word go. He wouldn't have stood for that. So it's one of those where you do something over his dead body that I take that literally. Okay, so you'll see the dates, so Shadley was there, in the very beginning. He spent time with me and my father, so he saw this thing start. And whenever Shadley was trained by my father and he refers to my research, he used to call it Silat knife, just so that my father doesn't know that it has anything to do with gang material. You see, so that's what it was like. I had a Silat class in July 99. Sorry, I started June 99, and then Lloyd came in July, which means there was a Silat class I was teaching. And the 2 guys that saw me teach this invited Lloyd to come to my class because he was getting kicked out of every dojo in Cape Town because he was questioning the sensei. So he never had a black belt because of that, right? And again, people will say things like, it's your attitude. But at the end of the day, if you don't question authority, like if you're not allowed to question, then I mean, you should know. And they felt that since I had a very relaxed way of teaching, that I would put up with it. And I did, because you would stop a class while I'm teaching, and then he'd come up and mention something or ask a question, and I was like, okay, cool. It's here. And then, of course, the people in the room didn't like that. So they told me, if you want to teach Lloyd Piper, you must do it on your own time. That's literally what I was told.
Yeah.
It's a Silat club. So obviously, I had to spend time teaching Lloyd privately. But they were there for Silat. They didn't want to know nothing about Piper. And so that's the first thing. There's nothing special about what I'm doing in Cape Town because they see this every day. Okay, if I'm doing this type of thing, that's not something that impresses people living here. You know, they want to see me do handstands and cartwheels. They want to see me do that.
Yeah, because they're used to seeing it. So going back to the thing with Lloyd. So what do you think? Like just going to fast forward a little bit. What do you think it went wrong? Like where he just wanted to do his own thing, or because I don't have the whole story about that. Like he decided to go on his own.
No. Okay. So I want to be very clear. In 2010, Lloyd came to me because I think he started traveling overseas, right? So he already left Cape Town in 2006, and then he called me to work. Obviously living in Dubai, and he asked me like, "Listen, can I go on my own? You know, I don't want to be part of any group." I said, "No, sure, no problem." But I gave him I said, "Listen, you can go, but these are conditions. The condition is, tell me when you go to a place, I will arrange a seminar for you." So if he finds himself in a country that his company sent him to, you should let me know. Then I call ahead or I email the guy saying, "Listen, Lloyd is going to be in your country. Just, you know, he doesn't know you, but just, you know, hook up with him or get him at the airport." And then this is how he would make, you know, he made money doing seminars. And now, obviously, in that time, I started hearing stories that he was bad-mouthing me for whatever reason. And, you know, I still didn't react. So in 2016, he made anti-Islamic comments. If you go onto the Piper page, you can actually see when that happened, because my post from 2015 to 2016 was dealt with that. You can still see Lloyd was commenting on the a lot of the posts. He was involved in the group.
Thing with Islam stuff. Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
Okay, so what he did was he made anti-Islamic comments to two of my Muslim students, that guy Harun Dar. He was teaching Piper in London, and then that was during the time that ISIS were at their peak in the news. So I didn't like. If I had to protect the integrity of my students and their safety, because, you know, MI6 years, these guys both worked for the government. Like they worked with autistic children. Like they had special, like they were designated by the government to work in these environments and you know, to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be so bad. Like even though it wasn't true, the government will still take them away from the children, and then they won't be able to be placed back. So I was very afraid of that. So what I did was I had to publicly separate myself from him for what he said to protect my Muslim students. But Lloyd still maintained his rank. He still maintained the right, the absolute right to teach Piper. He has to teach Piper. Like, there's no one that deserves it more. Like, I'm telling you straight. Because when Lloyd was made a Master Guardian, did you know that he refused to accept it? He didn't want anything to do with it. He didn't want anything to do with it. I had to force him to take it. He wanted to just train. That's all he wanted to do. And again, you guys are getting the later version of Lloyd, you know, as the world has changed. And then, of course, you know, he had an anti-Islamic stance, and you know, if you know me, you'll know that my political and religious proclivities is no one's business, because I'm here to do one thing. You came to me for one thing. It's just Piper. That's it. Right?
Separate politics from the art. Yeah. Religion from the art. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you can listen. I have friends and students that are atheists. But grant people the space to believe and not believe. Because tomorrow, say I'm a believer now, but anything can happen, and tomorrow I'm an unbeliever. Do you understand what I'm saying? But I must be given that space to be able to make that switch. But it should have no bearing on your life.
Yes.
You see, we are here for Piper. That's all. If you're done with Piper, you can leave. It's fine. We don't need to like each other. I don't need to support the same football team you support.
Yeah.
So I don't like tribalism, specifically because you know what happens with tribalism. That's where most of your politics is generated. In all aspects of what tribalism is that there's some of us that just want to be left alone, and there's others that need to belong to a community.
They want the brotherhood, right? The closeness.
Yes. Yeah. And that's just how people are. Like, Lloyd was never a brotherhood type of guy. He wanted to be doing his own thing. You see? So, and I think, like, in all honesty, he didn't want guardians to even exist. He didn't want others. He just wanted to be himself. He just wanted to be him. Just me and him. Right? And you'd think, the guy's, he's selfish. But you start thinking, wait. This guy is actually onto something, because if you've seen what has been happening in the last 15, 20 years, you'll see how people have changed, friendships that have built over years, because of this tribalism thing, trying to have instructors and, get all your friends involved, and you want to be on friendly terms with people in Australia and, UK and Canada. And then you'll see how quickly those alliances break down. And then you start going back to when Lloyd said, I don't want other people involved in this. It must just be the two of us. Then you start to, to listen to that more clearly now. Because before I used to reprimand him and say, no, it's not just about you. It's, it's about everybody. And then life hits you, and then you start realizing, well, I think he was onto something. There's a reason why he said what he said. You know what I mean? So
what do you think? I'll ask two-part questions. What do you think people gravitated so much to his style of teaching? And was there people that left the camp, your camp, and then you start saying, well, we're gonna go learn with Lloyd? And was there people that in that camp and then went to you, or?
No. The how Lloyd got his students is they never seen me.
So I think we might have lost him. He's frozen, guys. Oh no, let's see what happens. We might have lost him. I'm have to message him. This is a great conversation, though. I think that the difference in styles of teaching is evident. I mean, I've just seen videos of how Nigel teaches, but with Lloyd, it's let me see if he can go log back in. The style of teaching is definitely different. I'm glad we're going to get into the bottom of this. Like I said, this was kind of just meant to kind of just get the truth out, what's going on, between the two factions and stuff like that. It wasn't meant to cause any controversy or anything like that. But let me see if you can go back in. Let's see. But I think we're getting a pretty good concept of how the difference between Lloyd and Nigel and the different camps, which I'm going to get into after this when he logs back in and we start talking about this again. You guys have any questions at all? I'm going to wait to get some of the questions I've had messaged me on Facebook. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to post them in the comment section, and I will ask Mr. February when he comes back on those questions as they're pertaining to the conversation as we're having right now. While we're waiting for Mr. February to get back in again, let's see where he's at. I want to go ahead and let you guys know we have some great interviews coming up We have one with Coach Kurt, I believe tomorrow, which is going to be a good one coming up. I have one next week with Mr. Eric Harris. And I also have another, I believe, in the month. But guys, we got Mr. Mike Blackgrave. I know you guys follow him a lot. If you don't, you should. The man is a guru of knowledge when it comes to real violence and gun stuff. So we got him here on the Fight House Talks podcast. I know he really doesn't do interviews, but we got him, guys. He's coming in February, I believe February 5th. The flyer will be out soon. We'll make it, but February 5th he'll be out on Fight House Talks podcast. That's going to be a good one. You're not going to want to miss it. He's going to speak his mind, and it's going to be good. And then looking on down the line, we have a couple of other people that haven't done interviews before. We're going to try to get them on as well. But we got some great stuff going on. Let's see what Mr. February's at, if he has to log back in. He's having some problems, guys. If anything happens, he's not able to make the interview and log back in due to technical difficulties. We will have to have a part 2 of this interview at a later date. If we're just starting to get good, I was about to start getting into the juicy details of what's going on with Piper. So hopefully he can come back on again. But like I said, if anybody has any questions or anything on there, feel free to post them on the bottom of the comment section, and yeah, we'll go from there. But I think this, what you guys think so far has been pretty good, right? I think we're kind of getting there where we need to get to as far as asking the hard questions, which I'm going to start hitting here soon. Let's just see where he's at. And try to get back online again to get this thing started. But yeah, anyway, like I said, Fight House Talks podcast will roll on for this year. Keep an eye out, guys. Like, follow, and subscribe our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube channel. Appreciate if you guys support the channel. And you guys have been instrumental in making the show what it is with your interaction and your comments, and you're watching the show. So that's good. That's always good to have. Let me go ahead and read some of the comments while we're waiting. Richard Pac-Man, hello from Kansas. Hey, how's it going, man? Thank you. You're always a good, loyal listener here following us, and we appreciate it. J52 Piper, Mr. Guru J. That guy's one of the hardest working dudes I've seen in the martial arts. This guy always has a fucking tool in his hand. I mean, he always has a knife. He's always practicing. I mean, just awesome. Okay, I think he's coming back on again. Guru Tom, how's it going? Instructor Conrad, awesome to have you. Vigelis Zorbus, great to have you. Okay, let's get this show back on the road, guys. Okay, you're back again.
Yeah, so there was... Yeah, the vibranium didn't work so well in Wakanda, so I had to move the routers over, dropping signal.
Okay. Let's get right back into what we're talking about. So, Lloyd has this, like you said, he brought the United States. He had his own. He didn't really start expanding until he came to the United States and having his own. I think it was Guru Burton Richardson, right? It was one of his first students he had in stateside.
No, not Burton. He tried with Bobby Edmonds. Then he met up with Mushtaq, and these were all people that were part of Mark McYoung's Animal List back in the late 90s, early 2000s, because this is essentially how Piper started. It's because I made a 7-minute and 28-second tape that was sent to them in 2001. That's how Piper exploded. It's because they received the tape first, and that tape was from the old garage in where I met Lloyd, just a few months prior to that. So by that time, when I made the tape, Lloyd wasn't trained in Piper yet. You see, he didn't know any Piper at all. So I was just demonstrating with like incredibly long knives. I was doing Piper. That's only last 20 years that I was doing Piper with shorter blades, because I was using like the biggest knives you could find.
Yeah.
Now, to answer your question as to how people that they didn't move over from Lloyd, to me it's like what happened was Lloyd would get to a place first, and then the guys that he had there then they would stay with him, but he kept them away from me. So anybody that trained with me would not go over to him because he never had any allegiance of any of the guardians in South Africa. That's the other thing you have to remember. When Lloyd left Piper, he left alone. There was nobody that went with him. None of my students wanted to go with him. You see, so it was strange. It was strange because I was his only friend at the time. I was literally his last friend. And what happened was, I didn't know that all the guardians had animosity against him. So I stopped them from doing anything to him. Like if I'm in the room, they would not do anything or say anything, right? They would rather just move away. But the minute he was officially removed because of the, Islamophobic comments, which was outside of Piper, by the way, suddenly everybody came back and they were like, I'm so glad he got rid of him. And I thought these guys just, lost contact with me, but I've had people not talk to me like for years. And I thought like, they must have gone on with their life, but they would tell me, that they would tell me things like, oh no, I stopped talking to you because you were still friends with Lloyd. And I was like, but that's kind of unfair. I can't kick him out because like you don't like him. Like he's again, he's done so much that I couldn't let like personal issues cloud the fact that this guy did such amazing things that he forgot what he did. See, this is the other thing, Brian. Like there's so much things Lloyd did that he didn't even take credit for, which I'm giving him credit for. But it's like he just forgets, I did it. Okay, cool, we're moving on. But he has to create lies about things that he didn't need to.
Yeah.
Right? So
create his own turmoil. Yeah.
He didn't need to, because the stuff that he did in real life were even way more impressive. And here's the thing, I've got video evidence of the things that he did. Like he doesn't come across as like this badass, knife fighter, but it's like, no, but you are, because I've got footage of you sparring with real knife. So you tell me in today's age on the internet, do you see people do that? Like when I watch them with the knives, I cringe. Just seeing how close these guys are, how much control they have, like all of them that are fighting, and how nobody died. I would sit there thinking like, how the hell did we get away with this? And Lloyd was part of the knife culture in South Africa. The knife culture is straight. You come here, you train with real knives. That is our knife culture. That's hands down. He might hate aspects of race in South Africa, like he might hate his own color. But when he comes down here, he assumes the role. He picks up the knife. He goes. The dude sparred with me, with real blades. Like he wasn't afraid. Like he would do it.
Yeah.
But he won't do it because you're begging him to do it. If you just tell him, Lloyd, take the knife, go, and then he goes, which is actually funny, because he's got a Muslim. This is anti-Muslim apologetics, like it's called religious apologetics, where he takes down the Quran, and then I think he does some stuff on the Bible, because I know the scholars that he interviews and he deals with, and I'm like, if all these people knew what that guy could do with a knife, I would, because he doesn't come across as that guy, and I'm always wondering, like, he downplays what he can actually do, but then he pushes the things that he's not. Yeah. I'm just saying that the real stuff that he can do is quite substantial. But to answer the first question was, like, why was he still teaching that styles? Because he knew he could get away with it. Like people are not going to shut him down that easily.
They're not going to do their research and find out. Yeah, the guy's going to take his word for it. Like, this is what it is. I'm presenting it to you. This is what it is. How do you, going with talking about when his faction went to the United States and he has his own group of people, which, I was a part of at one time. When you see those other people that are instructors under him teaching Piper now, do you feel that the original vision is met, and you feel that they're doing it justice, or they're doing, like you said, injustice, cosplaying? Is it legitimate? Is it you feel that maybe they can go into you and maybe you can add the other missing part of the puzzle that wasn't given to them because it was only given to them by Lloyd? Do you feel that maybe that these guys are kind of like, this is not the way it's supposed to be taught because they're adding their own stuff into it, or you feel that evolution is good?
So like first of all, when you talk about evolution of a thing, it's the taking away of the non-essentials. Like your system becomes less and less and less. If you look at when Medusa was created, you see how little how streamlined the system is. But let's say Mike Raymond did this in the 90s, then his system would have had like a whole bunch of like drills and templates and sparring and all kinds of sticks thrown in there. And then through the years up until 2023, that's what his Medusa would have looked like. The way it looks now, that would have been 30 years of evolution, and then you get to that point. That's what it's supposed to look like, right? So an evolution is when you streamline stuff by making things lighter, more efficient, energy efficient, and quicker. Look at the original routers that we had. Now look at how tiny these ones are. You see, it gets less bulky. Mm-hmm. So again, evolution would be you take something that had too much, and then you streamline it, you cut away until you've got this now. Regarding Lloyd's students, of all his students, Dean was the only one that actually reached out and wanted to find out like what's happening, because he was the guy that of all the interviews that Lloyd did, and then he did an interview with Dean. Dean pushed him to actually admit who the actual founder of Piper was, because he had like the story. He had 5 different versions of how Piper started, and Dean basically just pushed him in that interview just to come clean. He prodded him. But with regards to the others that were there before Dean, you see, they stayed, despite Dean's stance on this, because look, he has access to people in the Filipino martial arts that are students of mine in Piper. So even he found out, like, okay, these guys are saying something else. Let's sit and listen. The others that Lloyd had been training prior to Dean even meeting him, they didn't do the due diligence to actually find out who I am, how the system started, what the original vision was, because the original vision was that Piper was a bad guy simulator. It wasn't a self-defense system. It wasn't a knife system. It was bad guy simulator you study, and then you take the martial arts that you have and to fight against that. Okay. So understand this. I've said this many times, but nobody listens. I am an MTN guy. I'm not a knife guy. Lloyd himself said, we are knife researchers. We are not knife fighters. Lloyd loves American Kenpo. Like, if there's one thing he loves the most out of all the martial arts, that's Ed Parker Kenpo. That guy loses himself in Parker Kenpo. Like, that is the one thing he loves above all else. Because we have a passion for MTN, not for the knife. You'll see, we are awkward with knives. Like, we don't know how to carry it. Like if that isn't an indication that we're not badasses, like he even admitted, we did this so that we don't get mugged anymore. Those were his words. And they asked him in some interview, why did you do Piper? Like, I didn't want to get mugged anymore. That was the line, With regards to those that are teaching stuff that are not Lloyd, like, so now it's Lloyd's students. It's like, you guys are from a different culture. You should have gone to the Cape Flats or found someone on the Cape Flats to actually have contact with. Right now, outside of Dean, because Dean actually, I'm in conversation with him, so he's actually asking those questions. Outside of him, no one else has actually had any contact with anyone from the flats. Think about that for a moment. You are actually practicing a cultural part of Piper, a more African version. But you should have had African friends. You should have had resources that you could have.
You should have went
into.
there, yeah. Went there.
Yeah, you should have had these. Yeah, you should have had like your Wakanda experience when you came here, because the version of Piper. Yeah. Look, first of all, Wakanda is a real place. Like, there's one thing you should never do. Wakanda is very real. Okay. So don't kill people's fantasies. This is real. Right?
Okay. I don't want to fucking shit on everybody's Cheerios there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was real.
You're right though, and like I said, and I think that was more of the fact. I think people were scared to reach out because they were told not to. Like, don't do this. Don't reach out to him. You know, be careful. Don't reach out to him. By certain people were saying not to reach out to your side, and I think it was kind of petty in the end because it just did disservice to the student who actually wanted the authentic experience of Piper, and you're just basically blocking them from getting the whole picture. You're just getting that one person's vision, but you're not getting the whole picture of the whole system. And I think that was a real disservice to the students. And that was it was kind of fucked up in my opinion that it had to go down that way. Because like I said, after a while, I mean, I was like, I think I reached out to Instructor Conrad before because I wanted to interview him. And he was like, I think you need to talk to Nigel, you know, like he's the guy's the founder. Like I'm not, you know, I know he's Instructor Conrad is a master guardian, right? Or guardian?
No, he's a guardian. He's a guardian.
Okay. Yeah. And I felt like he was definitely worthy because I've heard nothing but great, fantastic things about him and his skill to be interviewed. But he had the courtesy is like, no, you need to talk to my founder. Like this is the guy you need to talk to. And that's why I reached out to you. Like, hey, you know, I'm going to talk to you for an interview. Which I like that mutual respect that you guys have. And it wasn't like that on our side. Like it was more like, this is what you're getting. This is what you're going to learn. Don't go and ask them anything. You know, you stay here and just all you need is right here. You don't need to go over there. That's what I felt like.
Okay, so you know, I don't like tribes. I don't like anything with team sports or you know, because and again, this is where me and Lloyd agree. Even Haroon is also a guy that is a loner, you know, a lone wolf. And we've gotten to that point where there's a lot of us, including you, that we don't like communities. We are not communitarian. We just want to do our own thing. We just want to be that guy that's walking that path and just studying stuff and then move on to the next guy and studying stuff. And I don't want to belong to anything. You understand? Look, I don't have any rank. You know, like nobody calls me anything other than Nigel. Like that's literally it's all I have. Right, so I don't have any ranks where there's a title involved. So in Piper, I'm just a researcher and I'm a founder. I'm just a creator of the material. So I need to be flexible enough to move around. You know, I don't want to move with a grandmaster something, and then you know the problem with that is they've actually boxed you in, saying that you have to be careful now of what you say and what you do. And the way Piper was taught. The original way is like Lloyd, like he was like a traveler on the spot, and he just wanted to learn. He didn't want to have a hierarchy where there's other students he must consider. It's like it's just me. We're gonna work, and then tomorrow, you know, what happens? The two of us separate, and then you need to move on to the next. So we have this tendency where we want to hold on to our students. You know, we just let them go. And don't be a student for long. Like go find another master somewhere else, you know. And and I think so Lloyd stopped these students from reaching out to me because of the fact that I actually know how his beginnings. I know his beginnings, but not just me. There's a lot of people that were still there, that were there from the beginning. That was his friends, not mine. Okay, and I'm not lying because I can give you the names of the people that actually got him to that Silat class where he met me. They're all still alive. Those places are still there. So, and again, if you look at it, the reason for me separating with him was just that one reason. He still teaches Piper. He's still Master Guardian. He's still, you know, although we're not
take it away from him. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll never take it away from him because, like, okay, so he's involved with this religious apologetics thing, and because that's his thing. He's an academic, but I always used to say, yeah, he's an academic, but if you see the guys, fight with real blades, it's like, like you like you guys see that part, but I still have the videos of him, going at it. Like, so at least no one can call him a coward when it comes to those things, because he can throw down.
So do you feel like the second part of that question is, do you feel representatives of the United States, do you feel they're doing Piper justice, or do you feel that they're just like doing whatever they want? It's not really like what you see as their founder where you wanted it to go? Or do you feel like, hey, you're giving kudos to these guys, like these guys are, what they're doing is good work, like they're helping it, go into the right direction, like you originally, when you first started the system and vision, you wanted to go? Do you feel that like people in the Western Hemisphere are doing that, or do you feel they're just kind of getting away from what your vision was originally?
Yeah, so the short answer is no, they are fucking it up. Like, I'm telling you straight, it's my material, right? I put this together. I've created all the guardians you see. I've trained everybody that is highly skilled in the Piper system. So I'm responsible for the quality of my IP, right? So essentially, everybody that has ever done Piper has to go through my hands. And when Lloyd, wasn't, he's not a hands-on person because it's in his personality. He's Dean specifically. Yeah. So I spoke with Dean about this, and he said, like, listen, this was a lot on my plate. Like, it's not like Dean had free time, but because Dean was the last guy that did all of it. Like, he literally carried the team. Like he did all the teaching. He did, like, to plan the workshops and make sure people are moving.
He did an immense job in getting Piper started in the United States. So hats off to him for doing that.
But the disappointing part was that he didn't have the support, from his teacher, and that's when I, stepped in, because these guys can't be left to their own devices. Because remember, the founder's still alive, so I'm not going to sit there and watch them, fuck this up. Like, I'm watching them do it. So I have to, because again, quality is important. If you screw up in Piper, you make me look bad. Why? Yeah. Because my skill, and then here's the thing: if you want to know how good I am, right? If you ever want to figure out how good I really am, look at how good my students are, because that tells you the level of what I am. That's how good they are. So if they suck, no matter how brilliant I think I am, no, I'm sorry, that's your fault. That's your work right there. So I don't blame the student; it's the teacher. Because again, remember, this is a knife thing we are busy with. This is already illegal, specifically because what I'm saying is that you're plunging a sharp, pointy thing into another human being. So there has to be some form of discernment and philosophy in terms of how to not turn into a serial killer. So it's Piper is a killing system. A killing system is a hunting system. A fighting system is a sparring system. So that's how they are separated. Right? Anything that allows you to hunt someone, that's a killing system. Right? So Piper is not like Tai Chi that makes you feel healthy. You don't raise a family. You don't create good Christians. So, but I mean, I'm always of the opinion, if there's something better, I would always tell my students, like, don't bother with this. Rather do that. That's better, because
and that's
you always have to go for the more efficient one.
When you were pretty blunt with that, I like your honesty. When you're like, oh, they're fucking it up. I seen video. I'm not gonna say who did it or anything, but no, I'm gonna call people out. But using Piper for sparring, like knife sparring, like fighting against like a straight blade, like, I mean, just like wild experimentation, like nothing like what it was originally intended for.
Oh no! Wait. See. So I can't say anything bad about that, because I've actually got footage of us doing that shit. Okay, the knife sparring. Well, there was actually a time when we were knife sparring like each other and other systems. This was in the say from 2002, 2003, 2004. So that 3 or 4 year period, knife sparring is how I got people to get used to the movement. So that's why I used the knife spar. But then you must remember we did this with real blades.
Yeah.
Not because I was trying to be a badass. It was because that was the culture. Like if you're living on the Cape Flats and they find out you've got a rubber knife, you're going to be laughed at. Like that is, they're going to clown you. Yeah, living. Remember, this is Wakanda pre-vibranium age. Okay, it's just very hard. Okay, so what the guys are doing now, and again, it's one thing when we have an opinion on people knife sparring and all of that, but I think that when you like the problem with Piper is you can't add to a system that's already it's already evolved into killing, like it's a representation of an evolved form of killing.
Yeah,
Piper itself is not used by people, okay, as a killing system, because I'll tell you what happened. Many years ago, Lloyd visited a guy in the because me and him grew up in the same suburb called Alces River, and his mother had this friend that they were in kindergarten together, grew up together, and he became a gangster, and then he retired, and he started selling alcohol, liquor, that kind of thing. And Lloyd visited this guy, and then he showed him some Piper, and then the guy said to him, no one is supposed to know all of that. No one person is supposed to have all that movement. Like he actually said to him, what happens on the streets is that a gangster will have 2 or 3 movements that is his, and that guy will have 2 or 3 movements. The other guy has 2 or 3 movements. So my research basically put 50 movements into one human being. And the gangsters I showed it to, they also basically said, it's like, dude, that's like a whole gang's movements that you're doing. 7 years ago, somebody said, it's like you have the movements of 20 men. Like when you're doing all of that, it's like, because I'm able to, flow from one into the other. I'm just going based on the old clips of me. Like when I look at it, I was like, wow, that's like a lot of movement. These guys will say like, that's just too much for one human. Like you're just supposed to have 1 or 2 and then be done. Right. So that is essentially what why when people are sparring with it, if they're going to spar with it, you're not doing. And again, because they're doing their own thing and they're not training with me, because I've gone through all those phases with these guys, with real blades, learning timing and understanding Piper is efficient in this range, but it's not efficient in that range. So if you're going to be sparring, you're constantly on the, 5 or 6 feet away from the person. Your Piper is worthless. Rather use another system that allows you to have more reach using saber, that is more fencing based, so that you can, stay within contact. Piper is essentially in clinch range only. That is its strong point. So again, if you didn't know that, that's why you're sparring in everything. So it's a clinch range for grappling. It's perfect. Outside of that range, Medio and Largo, it's useless.
Yeah. But the more the videos, the more I've seen was like dueling, like knife dueling. Like this guy was dueling. Like he was trying to duel with this guy with a straight blade or a sword or something like that. Me personally, I didn't see the value in it, but I mean, whatever. I mean, hey,
look, we do that shit too. We did all of that, and I think I understand why they're doing it. So that's why I won't go out and criticize. Yeah. When you sit down, you start looking, and you be like, hang on, I'll be a hypocrite if I criticize these guys, because I did the same things. And then to make it worse, we've got video evidence of us sparring. I just don't want to make Piper a sparring system by actually coming out and saying it. Because then it's going to give people the wrong impression. But I mean, people have been experimenting with it, and then they can see for themselves, like, how good it is.
So just kind of like going into the switching gears, I know we were talking about this before. The questions could come out in the last 30-something minutes. Just kind of going to say about Piper and the supposable dark occult attraction, why so many people get supposed to be we were told, well, Piper attracts criminals and people that are occultists in the dark, dark things. I don't want to start going wild and saying like witchcraft or Satanism. But one of the questions that was asked is like, is there like kind of like a shamanic, like kind of like voodoo vibe to Piper? Like, is there an occult kind of thing, or is that just bullshit that somebody gets made up? Like, oh yeah, Piper is like fucking devil shit. You know what I mean? I'm gonna let you answer that because I know we talked about this earlier off camera, but what is there anything mystic at all?
So first of all, I'm a Christian, right? So I go to church more than a 90-year-old woman that goes to church. My church attendance is up there with old people, right? So when I go to church, right? So you know what I'm saying. So I'm a believer in I follow the teachings of Jesus Christ. Again, I will give you the Nigel February answer. This is nothing more than knife research garnered from studying with criminals. I want absolutely nothing to do with the guys with the hoodies and the occult anime manga images, because you see because Piper addresses the darkness in you, the actual dark side of every person. Because right now we are trying to contain that darkness in this conversation. So I think that's probably why people are attracted to the skulls and the blood and all of this. But I mean, you look at the way I present myself, it's like this is as Piper as it will get. I have a T-shirt with just one word on it, nothing else.
There has to be a pentagram in the back. Show us.
So like, I'm probably the most uncool Satan worshiper ever. Always late for a meeting, always late for all of that. So it's like the truth is a lot less provocative than people's rumors, because the rumors make me sound cool. But it's got nothing to do with the devil and all of that, because again, it's training. We get in, we start working. The problem when people believe in these cults and the occultists, they want something else to do the work for them. They want the devil they just pray to, or summon the demon. They want that thing to do the work for them, instead of you going in and you doing the work yourself. Like, this is the reason why you don't see devil worshippers in gyms lifting heavy stuff. Why? Because they would want the demon to actually do the bench press and spot them. That's the reason why they are not full of the devil worshippers. They don't really work out. You could see, come on now, they're naked under those robes. They really don't have definition of right? No, but think about it. The gym is the one place where you're gonna work. You cannot lie to yourself. It's real, right? You understand? You banging and clanging. It is real. So it is escapism. It's like taking drugs. You let the drug do the work. It's no different. Because people are afraid of the implications of what, because I'm stabbing somebody with a knife. So that is a bad thing already. So the way that we present ourselves is again for new people, because I know that you've met people in FMA as well, and
Oh, we lost him again. Damn it, was this getting good? Let's see. Let's log in again. So what do you guys think? So there you go. All the people out there spread the rumors that Piper's an occult or has mystic background or occultism. Heard it from the man himself. That wasn't the original vision or intent that he had for the like anything else with the blade that involves killing people or hurting people. There's always an evil aspect that attracts evil people, attracts bad people. And I think that the reputation that Piper has gotten with the criminals, with the gangs and stuff like that is attracted a lot of people to, hey, I'm learning a system that gangs use in South Africa. I mean, how fucking cool does that sound, right? I mean, you go to a bar, you bullshit with your friends, and, you say, hey, I study Piper. This is what gangs in South Africa use, It makes you look like you're some kind of badass or whatever like that. I'm glad he got to explain a lot of things where he sees, like, especially in the United States, where Piper's going, his opinion on where it's going, and what he thinks that's, he just obviously he's not too fond of it where he thinks it's going. Can we do better as students of this system to actually reach out to the source and get things clarified? Or do we just be stubborn and just kind of go forward and make our own decisions about what we want to do? I myself have not practiced Piper or did any kind of stuff with Piper like in over a year. It's not that I lost interest in it. It's just that I have other things that happened in my life and other systems I was studying. And I had gotten to level 2 in Piper, and I was just kind of like level 3 is like instructorships like that. But it just was nothing I wanted to pursue at that time. Do I want to pursue it now? Probably not. I mean, like maybe later on I will, like down the road or something like that. But like I've got my hand in too many different things right now, studying different things to kind of just go back into that again. Will I finish what I started? Eventually I will, but for now it's just kind of like it's gonna go where we're at. We're gonna try to get him back on again. He's having problems. Obviously, this guy's from South Africa. I'm here in the United States. Obviously, there's gonna be a thing going on with the what do you call it, connection, stuff like that. So these things are bound to happen when someone's on the other side of the world right now. If we can't get him back on here soon, and here we go. Now we get him back on again. Here we go. Okay, now let's bring him back on. Okay, we got you back. So I'm glad we got to get that all straightened out. That was a couple of questions that people have regarding that whole thing with the evil mysticism part. So
okay, so here's the other thing. My background is so people can understand where I come from. I have before I went full time in the martial arts, I was working with biomedicine for 18 years. In other words, blood. So I turned blood into biomedicine. And then before that, I was working as I worked in the pharmaceutical industry developing antipsychotic drugs for the US market. So probably the mass shooters you'll probably blame on me at this point.
We won't do that.
Because we worked for the FDA at the time, the company that I worked for. So I was audited for the FDA. And that's because that was the one company in South Africa that actually sold to the US specifically, right? So I have a chemistry background, so I believe in the scientific method. So I want to make sure that, I think that's why me and Lloyd got along so well, because we have a very logical way of working through things. Like we didn't have a sense of we didn't blow up our importance. You understand what I mean? Like I wanted to know, does it work or not, or doesn't it work? So I use the scientific method when I teach Piper. I teach it like I'm building a watch, like something with like intricate parts. Like I want to know, how's it engineered? I want to build it, and then I want to teach you how to build it. You understand? Like how can we make it more efficient? So that is that's essentially what it is I look to the scientific method to see, can I replicate this? Can I make it more efficient? If not, I will go and find something else. That's why I don't criticize other martial artists, because maybe what that guy's got is the spare parts that I'm looking for, or because I've been known to dump like a martial art I've been doing for 20 years, and like I would dump it if I see, what you're doing is better. I don't care about that. That's an old car that I sold. I want to go and do what you're doing. So I've actually been known to do that.
Yeah.
So and that's the other thing. Lloyd's also one of those people that would just, like, if he sees something good, and I know him personally, he'll do that. I'll practice what you're doing. That looks good. Show me how it's done. So this is the reason why you should go and train with as many people as you can, because you're trying to piece together, parts of a very broken up puzzle, and you don't know who's got that missing piece. And if it's not me, then I always tell you, go somewhere else and see if you can find it.
Missing piece, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. So unfortunately, I'm not a devil worshiper. I always think devil worship.
Now the show's ruined. Now I have to go back and edit it and change your voice and say that you are.
Yeah, yeah. Because that's literally the like I said to you, before we went online, I said no one's life is that interesting, man. Like when Oprah Winfrey wakes up in the morning, she reads, the newspaper, and she's like, "Wow, I'm an alien, or I'm from the Illuminati." It's because her life is. She wakes up in the morning, she looks like crap, and she's needs to take a coffee, and then she's just about trying to be cognitant, and then she finds out what the tabloids are saying. So it's the same with me. I mean, I was part of a cult that did death magic. So not only did I kill you, but according to this article, I had that quickening stuff from the Islander. And I'm always wondering, I'm thinking like, wow, this is, I'm not even upset. I'm just impressed at the moment. Like, because the Nigel February that's in this article is better than the guy that just last week couldn't find his slipper. Like, that's who I am. But the guy in the article, he's like, wow, this guy's amazing. Like, you're supposed to be angry, but I'm just impressed. I'm like, wow, my enemies think more of me than my own family. You know what I'm saying? So, So I think what people need to take away from this interview is that I'm not gonna bash, or I didn't bash Lloyd in that sense. It's like I'm telling him that he's done a lot more things that people haven't. He didn't even tell his own students of the things that he's done, like how he. But I mean, like, first of all, you see him move. Like, if you see him move in these videos, he moves better than when he was teaching you, because he was holding back when he was teaching you. But you see how this guy's moving in a culture that allows him to just let go. I have this thing. I do it with all my students. I have this ability to make people angry and aggressive. That seems to be my secret power, right? So if I could do that to Lloyd, I could do it to anybody. Because I need you to get angry. I need you to get aggressive when you use the blade, because that's the type of state you need to be in. You can't be Brian the dog lover, or Brian the guy that likes to.
I'm a reptile.
Yeah, So I need that, but I need this guy right now. The guy who keep a duck. I need that guy. So because intent is not a mindset. Intent is a heart set. Intent is here. It's not here.
Do you understand? I'm sorry to cut you short there, but do you want to see more women doing Piper? Because I know my wife did it. She got level 1, but she never did level 2. But do you want to see women?
I've got 6 female guardians. I've got 6.
Wow. I didn't even know that.
Okay. 6 guardians, and these. Let me put it to you this way: all the worst stories inside the guardian camps, like amongst the guardians, these guys and girls have like legends, like stuff that they've done, and it doesn't involve me. So there's again another disappointing factoid that it doesn't involve me. But it's like the scariest guardians in my group is 2 girls, 2 white girls. They were sisters. They were 9 and 13 when they started. They were the youngest people I've ever trained in Piper. 9 and 13. When they got to 15 and 15 years old and 18, I think. 18. They graded to Guardian. And the reason they graded to Guardian is because they fucked up everyone in my group. I just made them Guardians because I had no choice. And then I think they were, as Irene and Almarie, those were the 2 girls. They're the sweetest girls that you could ever meet. They speak when spoken kind of girls. Parents brought them to the Piper training. I mean, it was a family thing. And they would sit quietly and wait until Piper starts, and they would just run through everybody. And no matter who stood in front of them, man or woman, they would go right through them. So a lot of the so we gave them things to do in Piper because people were just afraid of them. When you look at them, all my female guardians were unassuming, like you wouldn't pick them out of a crowd. So the women actually fare much better than the males, because the males use ego. They want to look good first and then lose. A woman will rather look ugly and win because Piper works if you fight with emotion, and women are very good at that. And that's the reason why for them, they don't see Piper as a fight. They see Piper as I need to survive. Men see Piper as a dick measuring contest. Okay, so that's the disconnect. If I look at teaching women, look at teaching men. Women, I'm telling you, if you ever saw a female take your advice and listen to everything you've ever done as a man, Piper is the best way to get a woman to obey. She will do everything and she'll do what you say. Like I envision a technique, for instance, and then I see you do the technique, and I'm thinking to myself, it looked very different in my head. Like when I asked you to do it, they do exactly what you.
It's totally different. Yeah.
No, the women are best in Piper, definitely.
I got a little reverb in here. Yeah. So going forward with Piper, what's your future plans with Piper? What are you going to see?
Well, no. Here's the thing, and I said this many times to my groups as well. It's always been containment over expansion. You cannot let this thing grow. This thing was it was set to be destroyed after 3 years after its creation. So it's 27 years now. So this joke has gone on too long. So the idea is what Piper's done is help with the creation of prison systems like Medusa. It should do more of that. There should be more Medusas and other types of systems like that. You shouldn't just, because Piper is a what is it? It's a forerunner for finding all the hidden killing systems out there, and it's encouraging people to actually start developing and looking at their own criminal background. So it's not a case of just studying Piper. I actually want you to study whatever has been happening in your country. So if you look at Medusa, for instance, they've got the size aspect taken care of because those are big guys, right? So now if you're a big guy, that's what you're going to face, because you guys are built differently in the States. So Piper is designed for the smaller guys. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm saying the guys that are shorter, they tend to fare better, because they're like little mongooses. They just, in and out.
They can maneuver in, get in there.
So now you've got a system like Medusa that is designed for the American public, because it doesn't have any frivolities, it doesn't have any idiosyncrasies. It's unnecessary. You just go in and you should start pumping. The sewing machine thing, which, by the way, to this day, no one has ever been able to stop and address that in a knife defense kind of way. So Medusa now has that sewing machine thing, and you still fucked because you didn't even address it yet. Now I've got a system that is actually running on that. Do you understand? So now you've got that bad guy in your dojo now. So people from all over the world needs to start. That's the future of Piper. It is finding and creating clones like it, but in other cultures. No, you can't be teaching this all over the world. I think it's the worst business model, I would think, because again, let's look at the nature of what it is you're doing. You're always going to have a small group of people that this will appeal to, but for the wider public, you don't want people to know this. I mean, think about it. There's just certain aspects of using the blade that makes you uncomfortable. So no, I don't want this thing to grow. I want people, good quality people to train in it, but I don't want you to start groups all over the world. I want people to be individuals.
You don't want to walk in the mall and see, like, we're teaching Piper this dojo in the mall. Come on in. Yeah. I see what you're saying. You want it to be underground, but you want good quality people to maintain what you have.
Yeah, keep it small and try to stay off the grid, and that's one of the reasons why I don't like the Lloyd style of Piper is not suitable for the Northern Hemisphere first world countries, because everything is monitored. You are under surveillance all the time. There's the cameras and drones and phones and there's there's satellites is watching you. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to be showing, oh, I've got a knife, and because that's what happens with the type of you're doing the advanced twirl or tumbler. You're doing it up here. People are seeing you do it. The Africans are overt. You want to keep that stuff like quick. You want to stab and hide.
Your back. Yeah.
Yes, you want to make, even if they see it on camera, nobody sees it. That's
it's
what
like
you want.
You know who Professor Jack Oathman is?
Jack Ottman, the Silat guy.
I took a seminar with him, and he brought up a lot of good stuff. And she just brought up, we're talking about using the karambit. He's like, I want to show my karambit. I hide it with my hand. I hit it, and I go back.
Yes.
He's like, I never wanted my enemy to see where my blade's at, and no one's ever addressed that until I train with him.
Yeah, that's why my piper is a lot tighter, because it's mostly for guys in your countries. That's the reason why. Because who's the ones that get you? It's not the guy that you stabbed. It's the eyewitnesses that mess you up. That's where this comes in. Okay, you want to stab somebody so quick that nobody saw. Like the guy's made it up. Like he can't explain this wound. Like that's how quick you need to be.
Yeah.
Because it's the actual fight is after the stabbing. That's when the fight starts. That's a different fight. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why I'm saying Lloyd presented the material from as an exotic African system, and you have to take it for what it is. It is an African system, and there's people that liked that style of what he was teaching. So you must also take that into consideration, that people might not like what I'm doing, but people might like that very flamboyant, overt movement that he was teaching. So again, it's based on what attracts you. So that's the first thing. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying that from a not getting caught perspective.
Yeah.
If I must choose between the two styles, because remember, I taught that before. You learn that style. You learn that after you become a guardian, and that's just because you got all the important killing stuff. You got that down, and then you want to learn piper from a historical perspective. And I take you through all the different variations of piper over the years. But that's only because you're doing it as an instructor.
And I see instructor Conrad. Like I've seen a lot of his videos, and he is excellent. I mean, I've seen a lot of the stuff he does. An excellent instructor, it seems like, and as being a guardian, and it seems like he does it justice and does it well. Just from the videos I've seen, and I know people that train with him. Someday I'll get my lazy ass up and maybe hit him up or hit you up for some piper stuff. But I have a last question for you. This is from Coach Kurt, my co-host and co-founder of the Fight House Talks podcast. He wants to know, what are your thoughts on all the covert draw videos that you keep seeing on social media, on YouTube, guys on Facebook, like drawing a knife, lifting their shirt up and drawing a knife. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, so you'll notice that all these years, I've never taught how to draw the blade. Okay? There's a reason for that. So you always see I already assume that the knife is in my hand. And the reason for that is because we live in a knife culture, okay? And the knife our stab rate was always higher than the Philippines. Like that is I can guarantee that the only countries we are scared of is South America. That's the only countries that will scare someone from the Cape Flats, right? Like if you look at anyone, it's because South America's got like South Salvador. They got MS-13. MS-13 is the scariest gang on earth because they could replicate themselves in other countries. At least here, the numbers gangs stayed in South Africa, the actual numbers gangs, right? But the COVID was, that works well if you're wearing the same clothes every day, the same style clothes. Like you cannot wear jeans every day from a male sexual reproductive health perspective. You cannot have that type of friction, in your groin area. So you can't wear, You can't wear anything with a belt every day unless it's changing up the style of pants. If you're a police officer or in the military, your uniform is standard, so the belt would be standard. Where you slide the blade in, it's standard. So the draw to stab, that's very dicey, specifically because like they always say, read the room first. Like whatever required you to pull the knife in the first place, that started somewhere. It had to start. It's a social environment that you are in. If you are a policeman and you're gonna go and knock on you can do a drug raid, you cannot be surprised when someone's gonna attack you. You were prepared for it. But I'm a civilian. I'm going to an ATM. That blade needs to be hidden in. You should have it in your hand, walking to a place that is not your home, that's not your backyard, right? So people are drawing. They're drawing that from a military mind, a military environment where they have the same types of clothes. The rig is in the same spot. If you move your knife rig any other way, guess what? You're gonna have to start learning how to draw all over again, right? So, because I've worked with some military guys as well. I can also teach, to draw. The problem with that is that I'm a guy that likes wearing sweatpants because it's
sweatpants guy. Another one.
Yeah, I'm a dangler. I'm one of those. Okay. So how does someone like me, that wants to just live free, the live free boys, where you gonna let me carry the knife? Where am I gonna carry it? Because you wearing the cargo shorts, the cargo pants with the belt, and so now the military guys, the guys with them rigs, they got that shit up here and they can slide it up. So guess what? I'm not in the military, right? Now, where am I gonna carry it? Where? I have place for my wallet, my cell phone, and a handkerchief and car keys. That's literally all I have. Where the hell am I going to put the knife? So I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm saying the covert draw, again, when are you going to be using it? Okay, the covert draw is based on the fact that you've seen this thing start somewhere. That started like whatever requires you to stab somebody means that situation gave you at least a 5 to 6 second head start. Seriously, you can't sit and suddenly somebody attacks you out of nowhere. If you in a social environment, unless they know your name is Brian Rodriguez, that's a hit. Okay, that's not crime. Okay, you fucked up somewhere, Brian. Okay, you should have paid your loan shark on time. Okay, you stiffed the hooker out of a cash. That's what you did. So it's obviously they're gonna have to come for you, right? So now it comes from it's blindsided. That's when people know it's you. But we are drawing from a presupposition. That's the problem. We're drawing from the presupposition that someone is going to not give us time to draw a blade. I don't know where that came from, because every drill that you've ever practiced in the martial arts has to be taken from an incident that actually happened at least 30% of the time, at least 30%. So before you add the drill to practice it, that movement needs to have arisen from an actual altercation that repeated itself like 2 to 3 times. Now we're seeing people pulling up their shirts to stab, and I'm like, when did that happen? Like when did it actually happen? Do you understand? I don't like the crossover from the military to the civilian in terms of knife, because the military they don't use the knife as the way they claim. The civilian use of the knife is the highest, because you are ranked in terms of body count. How many people died with stabbings? That is the people that are the top. Right. Because the military, remember, your primary weapon is the knife. Your primary weapon is your assault rifle, and then after that is the sidearm, and then after that is probably a taser or something, or pepper spray, and then the knife. But for a criminal, the knife would be number 1. So you judge it based on the hierarchy of the tool usage.
So to Coach Kurt, another question. He says, should we be showing covert draw videos to masses on social media? And what do you think about that? Should we be showing videos of techniques like, here someone's artery here? Should we be showing the videos to the public like that? Is it responsible, you think, or you think that we should just kind of keep it private?
Well, I think our Piper group is closed. Okay, so it's a private group. So I would say the best thing that we could do is not, well, it's too late now, it's out in the ether, is to not show that at all. Like I think, remember, I started this years ago before there was an internet. We were doing Piper, right? Mm-hmm. Mike Raymond started Medusa after the internet has already fucked us over. So you don't see Medusa videos like you see Libre and Piper. It's because it's bad for you. It's bad for us. Because I'm going to tell you something that you guys probably are not aware of. Did you know that in South Africa, if you want to apply for a US visa, they will ask you for all your PIN numbers of all your social media accounts to see if you've got any anti-American or violent types of images on your social media accounts before they give you your visa. Okay, now I'm glad I got my US visa just before they implemented the new thing. So to answer the coach's question is like, no, it's a bad idea, because you'll see Mike Raymond do this. He's literally not posting stuff on the internet because his system started in the age of the internet. My system started, it's 1997, right? So 10 years later, we had Facebook. So all that videos that was on the Sony video cameras now posted onto onto Facebook. So yes, I think it's a very bad idea because we are being watched, monitored more than in the 1960s. Like, there's just cameras everywhere. So showing where people need to stab in the arteries, I feel that you're just doubling the amount of I would say the amount of problems that you're going to face in the long run, because again, you've seen what social media is capable of. You've actually seen the dangers of it. At the time I started Piper, there was no social media. But you understand how different a prison system created in this period compared to a prison system created before this period. You see how we did it. You understand? So no, it's not a good idea to be showing this to people,
to see.
But I mean, it's too late.
I definitely agree. Wow, this has been fantastic, sir. I appreciate your time. I think maybe we're gonna have to do a part 2 in the future again, so we can go into some more stuff with some Piper in here. But I got a couple of comments I want to read to you before we go. Vagelis Orbis, regards from Athens, Greece. Marco Novakovic, Nigel's taking no hostages. Jason Schultz, a guy is instrument in combatives and instrumental in Medusa. Respect Nigel, he says. So you got a lot of respect and a lot of people on here. Medusa, I think, is a fantastic system, and Jason Schultz, Mike Raymond have done a phenomenal job bringing that to life. Yeah.
Okay, but so here's the thing. Just like I said before, if you look at Medusa specifically, is they didn't start with like 1,000 videos that was flooding the internet. They just had a manual out there, and then you just kind of alluded to something happening. So you just show up somewhere to see it. Now, do you understand how that would have been? All of us, if I had to start Piper right now, I would have done it that way. So now, I'm looking back and I'm thinking like, it's a bad idea to have posted all my videos prior to that, prior to social media. Because remember, Scott started Libre in 2006, but Libre wasn't the name of the style. Libre was the name of the FMA school that he took charge of. He inherited the school. And then Libre became the name of the style, but that was 2006. 2007, Facebook started. You see, so again, now you look at Medusa where it is now, it has to be very careful because it's a very different world. Like if it started when Piper started, shit, you would have had like tons of videos and and the reason, so you'll see that they are doing it properly in the sense that, well, look, there's maybe 1 or 2 videos out there of Medusa, but you cannot take the chance. I mean, I'm speaking against posting videos on the internet. I mean, the Piper page is the closed page, but shit gets out. And you'll see how much I post of myself. I'm also trying to move away from the Dark Lord of the Sith. I'm trying to, I wear the most gay T-shirt you can find. Just because we're living in a very different environment, the era is different, the generation is different. So like if you wanted to learn Medusa, you'd have to like speak to certain people, and they're like, well, we've got a school for this. Do you have background in whatever? There has to be checks and balances for this. But with the amount of kids that have access to social media to actually watch you stab somebody in the neck, and you see, that's the thing we didn't know was ever going to happen back in the day. Whoever creates the prison system now already knows that.
Yeah.
You see, so it's just a matter of time until they start. And I don't know if you can see it happening, but I'm feeling that time is drawing near where they're going to start, making sure that they're going to start cutting us off social media, specifically because of content.
Who knows? Even the show, even just talking about it, like on the show, they could be like, fucking yank these guys out. They're talking about violence. They're talking about, you never know. You never know what's going to happen. Yeah. You're right.
So I think, I know we're running out of time, but I think I did mention to you that back in the day, the only knife system, well, it's not a knife system, actually. It's a it's an actual self-defense system. Was World War II combatants was the only real solid system back in the day that actually stood the test of time. That's the other thing. It's not something that was ever outdated. World War II combatants was still the one thing that you could use on the streets. Even some guys like my late father, he was trained in World War II combatants, and they use it on the Cape Flats. I just didn't know what it was called. I just used to see them do stuff. That's why I'm able to use the knife in saber grip and reverse grip. Although Piper's material was just reverse grip because that's what the gangsters were doing, reverse grip. It's not what I was doing. I had to be taught how to use the knife in saber and reverse. You must know how to use both grips, not just the one, from a personal perspective. I would actually like to see World War II combatants get its proper place back, because it's filled with, I mean, it was used during the Shanghai period. It was turmoil, is war, and
it's so simple to use.
Yes, and it's that's when men were still men back in the day. I think I'm starting on a correction, but I think that rough and tumble kind of thing also from W2 combatives. It's probably one of the offshoots. But yeah, I think that was the only other knife thing that was out there when the FMA was when Piper came up. That was still like solid. I have a lot of respect for that. But the thing I'm scared of is that we should be teaching that, because Piper is not a self-defense system. Piper is just a bad guy template, and then you're going to need to learn an actual system to fight the bad guy. So I'd like to see more of that in the future.
One of the best guys in the business is watching Jason Schultz. He teaches World War II combatives. I took some classes with him, and he's an excellent instructor, keeping it alive. As far as I've seen. Yeah,
and I think you should push that a lot more. Like I said, because my late father, you see, that's the reason why I couldn't tell him about Piper, because he was doing that. He was, he used to believe gangsters were of the devil. So I had to call my research by other names, not in front, like because he would literally shut down whatever project I was busy with. Because if he thought it was gay, tell me like straight away. Like he doesn't care how long I've worked on it. He tell me, because I said that the Native American, he was. I'll describe him to you in a very few words. He was a mean, sober, and a pleasant drunk. That's what he was. He was more pleasant when he was drunk. He was a pussycat when he was drunk, but when he was sober, oh, that guy thought he was Batman. Oh, that guy thought he knew everything. So, I think he was a magnet for street fights, because when I was growing up, I always had nunchucks around my neck and carrying knives, and I'm wondering, why are there always gangsters around me and you in the road with me? And then when he passed away, I discovered, oh, so no one's attacking Nigel today. Wow. I wonder why that is. Because, anybody that's ever been next to a street fighter, these people are paranoid. Street fighters, by and large, people who fight, constantly. They are constantly, making you nervous because they're watching everybody. And then their actions, now suddenly you in a fight and you're wondering, how the hell did that happen? So if ever you know people like that, it's like, yeah, they're attracting, they are the catalyst for these fights all the time.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Women always cause some shit all the time. Yeah, but this has been fantastic, sir. I appreciate you coming on and giving us your time. I know it's late over there. I want to keep you later. If you want to do a part 2, just message me and we'll schedule a part 2 and we'll go more into this.
Well, you can ask your viewers if they want to see a part 2. I will wear something a lot more bright.
Get some feedback, Maybe we can have a joint interview with you and somebody else that's also into another prison system style of system, and have you guys talk about contrasts, stuff like that. That'd be great. I
think the question that asked about showing the stuff on the internet. I think that's probably the most urgent thing, because it's 2024 now, so you don't know how social media is going to start constricting all of us, that are content creators. We are going to have to go underground again. I don't think Medusa will have that problem, because they never, they navigated, they were born into this new regime, so they wouldn't have the problem. But the old boys like Piper and Libre, that we're going to have to probably go back underground again, because they're going to come down hard on us. I could see it happening. That's why I don't want people to. I don't want to spread this around. Like, I teach one-on-one. Like Piper has the rule of 2. It's only master and apprentice. Like, it's the only way you can control it. Just 2 people. I don't want like 1,000 practitioners, because Kurt's question is going to become our reality. I swear to you. If it's not this year, it's going to be next year.
Yeah, it is. You're right. Where can people reach you for training if they want to train with you privately or train with you in your
they just inbox me. I'm on Messenger, Nigel E. February. I'm on Facebook Messenger. I'm on Instagram as 23 Guardians. So I'm available. Like, I'm on my phone more than a teenager. So yeah, they trust me. When they contact me, I will actually see it. Like, I wouldn't give them a chance to.
Yeah, you respond pretty fast. I admit.
You're always wondering what is that guy busy doing? What is he watching?
I don't want to know what you're doing on your phone.
hey, remember, I'm a devil, so I'm capable of anything at this moment. But yeah, I'm actually easy to contact. Facebook, it's Nigel E. February, and then Instagram, I'm 23 Guardians. People just inbox me and we can take it from there.
Awesome. Well,
I'm not saying anything to you, Brian.
I appreciate it. Your time. I appreciate. I know you're tired. I appreciate you coming on here, and I'm definitely looking forward to having you on again in the near future again. So we'll talk. Me and you will talk, and we'll try to set something up for maybe a couple months from now or something. Try to set another interview with you. But yeah, thank you. I want to thank you again. In regards to your wife, I know she's probably like in the background, like, hurry up and get off the get off the computer. It's time to go to bed. But hope we didn't keep you too long. But thank you, sir. Appreciate it. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for your candid honesty and your rawness. It's definitely appreciated.
No, cool. This was actually awesome. I was a lot less obnoxious than I thought I was going to be.
It's been fun though. It's been well. We're gonna give you a part 2, so you can be obnoxious then.
Yep. Okay, cool. Well, thanks for the opportunity. I hope to see you guys soon. Regards to everybody. I can't see your comments, but yeah, we have a watch.
Oh, you can watch it back. We'll have the recording on YouTube if you want to share it, and then also we have it'll be on the page. But thank you again, sir. Appreciate it, and we'll be in contact. Thank you.
Cool. See you.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. That was great. Fantastic. We had some great people commenting tonight. I want to go ahead and just plug some stuff up coming up. Tomorrow we have Coach Kurt doing an interview tomorrow. I'm not sure the time. I got to look. And then we have I'm going to be on again next week. And I forgot the time. I know I fucked up. I have to. A lot of stuff going on right now, so we will post flyers. I believe mine will be next Saturday with Mr. Eric Harris. I don't know the time, but I want to thank everybody for watching. Brian Kanata, Bowie Seminar, the 21st of January. Again, I fucked up again because I don't know the time. I don't have it in front of me right now, but if he wants to post a comment later on, he can. But the 21st of January, I believe it's like 1:30 Eastern or something. I'm not sure. He can correct me in the comments on there. But I highly recommend you guys take another great instructor. We're going to have him on. I'm actually going to invite him if he's watching. I'll invite him on to talk about some stuff. Also, too, we have another interview next month with Mr. Mike Blackgrave, February 5th. You're not going to want to miss that one. Mr. Blackgrave doesn't do a whole lot of interviews, and he's recently decided he wants to start doing some interviews and talking. That's going to be a great one. We're going to get raw and candid in that one. He's going to give his opinions on current states of how training's, he sees being conducted. His thing with guns that he's doing right now with firearms training. Another great show. Fight House Talks podcast rolls on. We hope you guys are enjoying what you're seeing. Any suggestions on future guests? DM Coach Kurt or myself. If you want to be on the show, DM us. There's no criteria to be on the show. You don't have to be a badass fucking level 12 Navy SEAL or Grandmaster. You can just be an everyday practitioner, everyday Joe, like the rest of us, and come on and we'll just have a good conversation and talk. That's what the show's about. But without you guys, we couldn't keep rocking and rolling. So thank you for your support. Thank you for sharing. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Fight House Talks Podcast. And I am out of breath. And I am out of here, guys. Hope to see you tomorrow with Coach Kurt. He'll be posting the flyer up for his interview. It's going to be good. And then I'll be back on again I believe on Saturday. I got to check the date. We'll see the flyers posted. But thank you all for watching. Mr. February definitely got down on candidness and rawness, and I appreciate his honesty. And he's a really, really nice man. I've talked to him for a couple times now privately, and just a great guy. All notions and conceptions I've heard from other people, as far as I've seen, have been kind of wrong. Of course, like I said, I'm not, we're not like, they were close at all. But I mean, as far as I can tell, he's a real great guy, and he has a wealth of information, and he's a real good person. So anyway, all right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a great weekend. Remember Coach Kurt tomorrow. He'll be posting the flyer up. Make sure to watch it. It's going to be good. Also, watch his show, two FMA nerds talking FMA. Hope I didn't butcher that. I think I might have fucked that up. We'll see. You never know. Yeah. Two FMA nerds talking about stuff. Yeah. Sorry, I fucked it up. See, I'm such a bad listener. But yeah, watch his show. Support that channel as well too, because he has some good guests on there and stuff. And yeah, he's gonna be back in tomorrow. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching. See y'all later. Leave comments afterwards. Peace.